Had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me.
Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here, and welcome back to Marvel Month. As we make our way towards the end of Phase 2, it's time to talk about Avengers Age of Ultron, released in 2015, directed by Joss Whedon. While trying to retrieve Loki's scepter, Tony Stark is shown a vision of the future where all of his friends are dead and he could have stopped it. And since he's terrible at reading signals, he creates an artificial intelligence named Ultron, voiced by JamesMCD, who is supposed to make peace in our time, but of course, the only way to make peace in our time is by killing everyone. So he goes around and makes a bunch of different versions of himself and plans to raise a giant city and smash it into Earth like a meteor. So, along with some new characters that enter the mix, such as Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen, Quicksilver, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Vision, played by Paul Bettany, the Avengers must work together to overcome their mental and physical problems to save the world. So after the mind-blowing surprise of the first movie, you'd think that the second one would be just as, if not more exciting and more surprising than the first one. And in some cases it is, but in others, it's just kind of more of the same stuff that we've already seen. And I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it is well done, but when compared to the first one, I mean, the first one, it works because it is a surprise. You know, you didn't see anything this big before. And with this one, the wow factor is kind of, you know, downplayed because there aren't as many new surprises. And I mean, it sounds like I'm being negative about it, but there are some good things that I can say about it. You know, it is, I criticized it for being more of the same stuff, but to its credit, that stuff is still, you know, entertaining. Like, you know, it's funny, it's action-packed, it's got some great, you know, effects and fight scenes and stuff like that. The characters are all still the same. You love every single one of them. They're entertaining to watch. They work so well off of each other. As I said before, the action is great. There are some really good action set pieces in this. The one with the Hulkbuster versus the Hulk is iconic at this point. It also has a lot of heart to it, and some really good scenes of just the characters interacting that are honestly probably more interesting and entertaining to watch than the action scenes. Like, there's a scene with them hanging out at a party that is, you know, hilarious. I could probably watch that for 2 hours and still be entertained. There's a scene where they go to this cabin that with Hawkeye, and they hang out with his family, and that's a really great scene. For all of the, you know, like comedy and lightheartedness and stuff like that, there's also a nice bit of drama. This is a, you know, much darker movie, like sort of tonally. So, like I said, there are some really good things about the movie, but there are a lot of problems with it. For one, there is way too much going on in the movie. This is a problem that I had with Iron Man 2 as well, that there were just way too many things that, you know, were happening, and, you know, way too many things, in this case, too many things that are being set up for future movies. Like this movie alone, it sets up Captain America Civil War, it sets up Infinity War, it sets up Black Panther, it sets up Thor Ragnarok, and that's just like some of the things that are, you know, just setups. For one, there's so many like plot points. The stuff with Hawkeye and his family is good, it's well warranted, and it gives Hawkeye a nice bit of development, but it's just one of the many, you know, like plot points that easily could have been cut out to make the movie more, you know, like streamlined and stuff like that. There's an out of nowhere and sporadic romance with Black Widow and the Hulk, and it's fine, but like, again, it's one of those things that just seems like it's just forced and could have easily been cut out to make room for other stuff. Also, the new characters are kind of underwhelming. I mean, aside from a quick appearance at the end of Captain America the Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver haven't had any other movies that they are in, and they haven't been developed all that much. I mean, Vision at least has, you know, some form of development because he used to be Jarvis, but still, like, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are being introduced in this movie, and, you know, while they're cool, you're not really that invested or excited to see them. Also, I don't really see what the point of having Quicksilver in this movie was if they were just gonna kill him off. I mean, I understand conflicting with other studios because the Disney Fox buyout hadn't happened yet, and Fox had their own version of Quicksilver. But honestly, I would have much rather preferred them not had Quicksilver in this movie at all and just waited a little bit and then put the Fox version of Quicksilver into the Avengers, because that version was so much better and more funny and entertaining and interesting. Now obviously Scarlet Witch and Vision do get a little bit more development as the movies go on, but as is, they're not really that interesting. Also, the villain sucks. You know, there was all this buildup in the trailers of, you know, like Ultron being this super intimidating presence and everything like that, and, you know, he's gonna, you know, tear the Avengers apart and change, you know, the course of the MCU and blah blah blah. And, you know, he's just not that intimidating. He's not that interesting. Like, you know, they were on the right track with making him intimidating. You know, like they give him a really like creepy looking mechanical design, and they give him James Spader's voice, and he just sounds, you know, like really menacing. But then, because Tony Stark made him, you know, he has to be like cracking jokes every 5 seconds. So he's not intimidating. You're never once threatened by him. He never feels like that much of, you know, a big bad guy. And speaking of which, I'm going to be bringing this up a lot in the course of the next few movies, but when I say that Tony Stark over the course of the next few movies will make some dumb decisions, this is one of them. Like, when he saw that vision of all his friends being dead and saying, you know, you could have stopped it, you'd think that, oh, maybe this means that I shouldn't be doing anything stupid that might, you know, affect the world or release something evil onto the world or blah, blah, blah. But no, instead he's like, well, maybe I should, you know, cheat the odds, and maybe, just maybe, it'll work out in my favor, and it'll create, you know, a suit of armor that's wants to keep the peace and blah blah blah. But no, of course, because comic book science, it turns evil and goes haywire, and this could have easily been avoided if he just didn't do that thing. And then, if that were not enough, clearly he didn't learn his lesson the first time, and he decides to take the synthetic body that Ultron was creating back in Sokovia or whatever, wherever they were, and he decides to bring it back to the lab and be like, hey, you know, maybe we should try that again, but this time it'll actually work because plot convenience. And it does. So not only is it a stupid decision, but it makes no sense in terms of the story. I know it sounds like I'm being really hard on the movie, and it's not even that bad. It's still entertaining to watch. I was never bored. I, you know, had a good time watching it. But I mean, after the first one pretty much like changed the game for comic book movies and stuff like that, I kind of wanted the sequel to, you know, build on that. And like I said, in some cases it does. You know, the scene at the house, the scene at the party, all those stuff is great. And they do start adding new characters, but they are kind of like smaller side characters. So, you know, you're not really like blown away to see them come back. I just wanted them to, you know, build on it, make it bigger, make it, you know, more effective, more surprising and stuff like that. And they almost were there. They almost got there, but they just missed the mark by a little bit. So, like I said, by no means a bad movie, but not as good as I remember it. So, I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. But anyway, that does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Avengers Age of Ultron. How does it still hold up? And which of the Avengers is your favorite? Let me know. And then tune in tomorrow when I'll be taking a look at Ant-Man, the final movie in Phase 2. Until then, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.